What's up, everybody? Welcome on in to the PWTorch Fireside Chat for Wednesday, October 26th, 2022. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm PWTorch Assistant Editor Zack Heydorn, and we are here to preview AEW Dynamite. Tonight's episode of Dynamite, which is a pretty stacked, kind of a stacked episode, I think, in a lot of ways. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. I think it's stacked up, and I think it's stacked up with matches that, for the most part, make a lot of sense. And we'll get into all that. We'll break it down. We'll analyze the show tonight, and maybe have some fun, pick some winners, and shoot the breeze with you guys. So if you guys are watching this live, get into the comments section, jump on in there, and ask any questions that you got, comment on my comments. And let's have some fun here for the next, 30-ish minutes, if you will. So if it's your first time checking us out, we are live here on YouTube, on our brand new relaunched YouTube channel, every single day, live, previewing all the major shows of the week. So before Raw, NXT, Dynamite, and SmackDown, we do a full live preview for all of those shows. And then on Thursdays, tomorrow, we have our flagship Fireside Chat. Myself and Tyler Sage, we just talk about the news of the week, break down the news of the week, and and just go from there. So you can check that out tomorrow. So be here tomorrow at this time at 3. Actually, it's 4 Eastern. Where we do the flagship show. So 4 Eastern on Thursdays is our flagship. Be here. Like these videos, subscribe to the channel. I think you'll be happy that you did, and you'll be happy that you do. We've got a lot of other things happening on our YouTube channel on a week-to-week basis. We've got interviews that pop up. Wade has some things that hit the channel, and then just a host of other fun stuff. So subscribe. You'll be happy that you did, and we certainly will appreciate it if you do. So once again, hello to everybody that's joining us live. Hello to everybody in the chat. Let's talk a little Dynamite, shall we? The main match tonight that has my eye is the tag team number 1 contendership match. There is a world title match tonight. We will get to that match in a minute. But we have a number 1 contendership match tonight for the AEW World Tag Team titles. It's FTR versus Swerve in Our Glory, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. The winner will face the Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team titles. There's a lot right with this match, but there's one key thing wrong with this match too, that just makes it hard to kind of pick which way they're going to go. Hazan, what's up, my friend? Yeah, it is. The match could go either way. But let's break it all down. Let's break this thing down. So here's what I like about the match. FTR and Swerve in Our Glory, two of the top tag teams in AEW. And finally, there's a hierarchy of tag teams in that division that are going for the AEW World Tag Team titles. It drove me crazy. If you listen to the Fireside Chat, hey, Tracy, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here, as always. What drove me crazy about the AEW tag team division was you had top tag teams in the company that weren't anywhere near the AEW World Tag Team titles. Young Bucks, one of them. House of Black, not really near them. Death Triangle, not really near them. And so it never really caught on or made sense to me as to FTR, not anywhere near them, and they absolutely should have been. It was always frustrating because you have all this great tag team talent in your company, and they're off doing other things. You've got the Young Bucks trying to go after the Trios titles. You've got FTR wanting the IWGP tag team titles and the Ring of Honor tag team titles. And so, it's like the AEW tag team titles took a back seat to other tag team championships in the world of wrestling that Tony Khan wanted to feature on AEW TV. To me, that hurt the aura of the tag team titles. And they're back now. I think that the hierarchy is defined nicely. It's not perfect because FTR is still not like something, they're not an act that the company's building around, but they're in the picture. And that's very, very, very important. You've got the Acclaimed on top, and now you have two of the other top tag teams in your company, going after the world tag team titles. That's how you have to reestablish what you're doing. Tracy, thank you. There's tons of unused talent in that division. I mean, just think about how many different tag teams that are there or that could be there that just aren't around those titles. And the thing is, it's not that like you can have every single top tag team going after the tag team gold. Like Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia are teaming up on this show tonight to take on Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. But my expectation is that they don't talk about the tag team titles because really Garcia and Jericho, they're a team. They're in the same faction, but they're not a tag team. They're wrestling in a tag team match tonight, but they're not a tag team together, tag team specialists together, right? But take those tag teams out of it. You've got other groups that just are not utilized properly in this regard, period. And it's taken a long time for them to get there. Now, as for tonight, real interested to see how Tony Khan books his way out of this match, because look, FTR are supremely over as babyfaces at this point in time. They've had a hot run. They've had the run of their careers. They've had great match after great match after great match in 2022. And the audiences like them for that. I think the audiences respect good tag team wrestling and they respect FTR. Plus, you kind of have a personal story with Dax Harwood that has come out in 2022 as well that defines him in a different light, in a very likable light. So they're full on baby faces, no question. They should win this match. I mean, they should win this match. FTR is one of the top teams that you have. That's it. They should win here. But if they do win, if and when they win, they have to then collide head on with this other act that's a babyface act in the Acclaimed, who are just, riding a wave of momentum right now. And this is the problem that I have with where this division is right now. For as great as it is that you have these teams that are top teams and those teams are going for the tag team titles, FTR versus the Acclaim is a risky match to put out there in terms of splitting your crowd reactions. Like, I just don't, when you have a team like the Acclaim, which is just on the up and up, they're trying to ride the wave of momentum. By putting another babyface team in there against them, especially one that is so organically over like FTR is, you run the risk of like alienating fans in that match and watering down the reaction a little bit. That's just the reality. You're going to have fans that want FTR. You're going to have fans that want the Acclaim. And if you had those two teams separate, you'd have probably universal fan response for them on their side. But you can't have that when they're going against each other. So that's why I don't like this. That's why I don't, not that I don't like it, but it's risky. It's really, really risky because you've got, a team in the Acclaim that you want to protect. You've got FTR who you want to protect. And you're kind of, in my opinion, they're going to put FTR over tonight, and then they're going to move on to the Acclaimed. And then what happens? What is the crowd reaction? Does FTR throw a bucket of cold water on the scissor meat thing, right? Or is the Acclaimed over enough to kind of, knock FTR down a peg or two? I don't know, but is that prudent booking on the part of Tony Khan? I'd say probably not. I'd say that you want to have another heel team ready to go, and you don't. And so, Steven, you bring up the good point, and this is what Tony Khan would say. or what he is saying right now as he's watching the show live. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe you are, Tony. I don't know. Book the biggest match that you can, and that's it, isn't it? I mean, I think that's half, maybe even more than half the battle, but it's not the full picture. It's like, my question would be, how many big matches does the Acclaimed have and does FDR have independent of one another? What can you build for those two teams that isn't each other, so that you can get big matches out of both of them and not have them in one match? I don't think you always want to book the biggest match that you can. You want to find a happy medium of the biggest match that you can build that makes sense. Moxley and MJF is the biggest match that AEW can put on at this point in time with the talent that's available to them right now. I'm not convinced that's the match to go with at this time, because just of the runs that Moxley's on and that MJF is on. I'm not convinced. We've got time. We've got 4 weeks time. And it may be a special circumstance there in that instance, because MJF is just on this other kind of level of momentum that you just can't hold up at this point in time. And so because of that, you got to put the world title on him, right? I don't know that the same thing can be said for FTR versus the Acclaim. It's like if you're Tony Khan, you kept FTR away from the title picture for so damn long, all year. And now when you have this other babyface team in the Acclaimed, like, now you put him in there? I don't know. I know you want big matches, Steven, but I don't know that you convince me that that's prudent booking, even if it is, the biggest match that they can put on. Big matches, they do need stories. That isn't contrived. And I don't want to say that it's contrived that FTR would want the AEW World Tag Team titles, but it just, from a out of the ring, out of the story perspective, why do you want to water down your big babyface reactions? I don't know. I love it, Steven. Keep bringing it. There's a bit of me that feels, though, that he's having to move because FTR will sulk otherwise. Yeah, well, sure. Yes, that's correct. I mean, there certainly could be other circumstances around this. And if it is, I sympathize with Tony Khan about that. I would look at FTR's direction and go, hey, like, come on, like, let's just be better businessmen. This doesn't help you guys at all to do this. Not at all, but do you want to dilute your reaction? Essentially, is what you could say back to that, and it may not matter, but that's certainly an element to take into account. You're right, Steven, to point that out. So I think FTR's winning tonight. I just do. It just seems like that's the match. We've seen Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaimed already many times. We've got a little bit of a tease with Swerve turning on Keith Lee. Maybe we see that pay off on this week's show. Maybe not as a finish, or maybe as the finish. I don't know. So I think this will be an interesting match. I think it's gonna be a really good match in the ring. Like, because look, you've got like a babyface team and a heel team here, and all great workers. So I'm expecting this thing to really be one hell of a match. Okay, a couple other smaller matches on the show. We've got Jamie Hayter versus Rio. What's up, Hassan? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it, man. Let us know in the comments what you're looking forward to most on Dynamite tonight. Rio versus Jamie Hayter. I'm interested in watching this match. Like, there's no real big backstory here. There's not a lot to analyze, unless one of you guys out there, has like something to say. I just want to see this match in action. I think Rio is a really good good wrestler. And Jamie Hayter is, she's riding a bit of a wave of momentum herself. She's not even really kind of hit the peak of her momentum yet, it seems. And it's still, there's just a groundswell of momentum building for her. So I just look forward to watching her on a week-to-week basis to see how that's going. TK's fast tracking Jamie Hayter is on. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I think she's kind of like third or fourth in the pecking order right now. When you look at the women's division in its entirety, I mean, you've got Britt Baker, Toni Storm, Saraya, and Thunder Rosa. I mean, you can't discount Thunder Rosa because she is the AEW Women's World Champion. So you can't discount her completely, but Jamie Hayter is right behind those four women, and each and every week inching up, to the level. Like, I don't think that there's a huge drop off between Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter at this point, but Toni Storm has the belt. She's got the interim title. So like, her name is going to be in that conversation just because of that. But from a talent perspective and from a crowd reaction perspective, Jamie Hayter is right there. So I think that's fast track. I don't know. In the plans, absolutely. Do we see a Saraya pay-per-view announcement tonight? We may. But I wouldn't think that they hold on that for a bit. I think that there's 3 more after tonight. There's 3 more episodes, 3 more episodes of Dynamite after tonight's episode of Dynamite. And so you have some time there. You have some time there to tell the Saraya story and build the pay-per-view. I would try to get more out of that than just this is a not promoted announcement. To me, Saraya getting back in the ring, that's a big deal. Like, that's something that you can draw with. So draw with it, book it, promote it. Saraya's got a huge announcement she can't wait to share. She addresses her future or something to that effect. But try to use it to draw a number, because I think people will see it. There's a story there that fans have been invested in all for years now. For years and years and years, they're invested in the Saraya return and the potential return to the ring and what she could bring to the table if she ever does return to the ring. Like, that's a story that people have seen and that people have been a part of for good 5-6 years now. So, I'd go with that. I would go with that for sure. And not just kind of bury it on a loaded show here. I'd have it be one of the signature parts of your show here in the next, the next 1 or 2 weeks. So that's how I would do it. I would not bury it away. Rio is going to bury Hayter. I don't know about that. We'll see. Rio's a good wrestler. She's fun to watch. She can sell her ass off. It's just a really good worker. Like, her matches, you can never really look away because she's got you invested right out of the gate. It's really special. Think about that when you're watching the match. I don't want to be like, Zach Pro Wrestling Educator here, but think about that. Once she starts wrestling a match, you're like hooked. She hooks you in early. And look for that tonight when you're watching the show, folks. Like, how long does it take you to get invested in Rio winning or just doing well? I think it's a interesting thing to look at for sure. Okay, so in addition to that match, we've got Bryan Danielson versus Sammy Guevara. Another match that's happening. Another match that's good. That should be a really good match, but that lacks some meaning. I mean, this match is happening because of the Danielson, Jericho, Garcia saga at this point in time, and so we're getting this match. Should be a good match, but I smell Angle here. I just smell Angle here. We'll also hear from MJF tonight too. That is I am pumped to see that segment, because last week on the show, we had a major moment for MJF and for that character to really kind of like lay the foundation for a babyface turn and a babyface run in AEW. We saw that with him kind of declaring, "No, I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to win the world title the right way. I'm calling my shot at Full Gear. Boom, that's how I'm going to win." Like, that's a babyface thing to do. And you put that together with the promo we cut with William Regal, and man, you got something. So I'm real curious to see what the reaction is for MJF tonight. If I was a betting man, and I am, but just not about pro wrestling usually, I'm looking at him to get the biggest babyface reaction of the night, bigger than Jon Moxley. I think people are invested in that journey right now. I just think that they're all in. They want to see MJF. They want to see him be the champion. They want to see him overcome. And then we'll have to see how MJF kind of responds back to that as a babyface. But to me, it's unavoidable at this point. When you have the work that he did last week with Regal, you have everything from that happened over the summer. You have the momentum of him as a star anyway. They're well past the point where they can kind of pivot on this. This has the makings for babyface MJF run as champion in AEW. Period. That's where we're going. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that reaction is like. But if I were a betting man, like I said, this has babyface written all over it. Isn't that the story, Steven? Right? I still don't understand people cheering MJF. Refused to honor his contract, and apparently that's a face move now. Yeah, I mean, what's even more crazy about that in and of itself is that, like, the babyface turn kind of came at the expense of Tony Khan, of all people. Tony Khan, who's regarded and renowned as this, he's the booker and the owner that brought wrestling AEW to when it needed it most to compete with Vince McMahon, and the guy gets big pops when he walks out to address his fans, and people then are just saying, Tony Khan, see ya. I'm going on Team MJF here. Like, that's crazy to think about when you think about a year ago, Tony Khan getting cheered by 20,000 people inside the United Center on the night that CM Punk made his return to wrestling. Like, it's unfathomable when you think about it. But sometimes that happens. Steve Austin, the guy just heel tactic after heel tactic after heel tactic and cheered. Sometimes you just can't avoid it. And I'm not saying that MJF is going to be on an Austin trajectory. I really want to make that clear. That's not the expectation here. But sometimes things work for reasons that you don't understand. And it's just, there's a connection there with MJF. And to me, Tony Khan is smart to go with it. Pushing against a positive reaction to him in favor of the same heel shtick again is just, it's a fool's errand at this point. Fool's errand. Okay, so we've got that. That'll be interesting to see. Then we also have a tag team match. We got Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia against Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. Jericho Appreciation Society against Blackpool Combat Club. They're involved in a feud right now. Big time feud. It's a story. So this is a match to further that. My guess is we get some sort of involvement with Danielson out there is my guess. You have the Wheeler Yuta and Danielson situation. They had some kind of dissension last week that they teased, with Yuta just kind of frustrated with Danielson that Danielson didn't see this coming. I hope that they pivot away from that. It's too soon. It's too soon. Finish the story. Finish the first story. Put Daniel Garcia over in some way. Heel, babyface. I think he had the makings of a good babyface run. But okay, now he's not going to have that. But get there with it. Finish that story first. And if you want to tell something with Wheeler and Danielson later, go ahead and do that. But you're muddying the water with that, in addition to the Daniel Garcia stuff at this point in time. You don't need it. Why let those guys be a team? Not everybody has to have these doubts about who they're friends with. We don't have to have that constantly. And this is too much. So I want to see both these sides stand on its own. I think Danielson's going to beat Guevara tonight, and I think Garcia and Jericho are going to beat Claudio and Yuta. And so I wonder what match we're building towards there. Like, is it going to be like a trios match at some point, and Jericho Appreciation Society are going to pick somebody else up? Daniel Garcia versus Bryan Danielson again. Is that going to be the match that they go to? I think somebody made a comment here. Let's see. Azan. Thank you, Azan. Jericho Appreciation Society and Blackpool Combat Club the feud needs to end at the next pay-per-view. I agree with you on that. It's been going on for a lot of the summer, and it's time. How do you wrap it up? Like, who are the representation from each side to wrap that feud up? I don't know. I think it's hard to say at this point, what that looks like. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see how that's going to go. But you're right. They gotta wrap it up. They gotta wrap it up. I think they had it. I mean, I think they had it in Daniel Garcia. This to me is Tony Khan being a little bit too cute. So, all right. And then last but not least, we've got an AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. Jon Moxley defending the title against Penta. Look, the analyst in me and why I'm here doing this job is to criticize that main event. I mean, like, why is Penta getting a title shot? Where is this coming from? You don't have the rankings anymore. I get that. But, why is Jon Moxley defending the title against Penta? What's the story there? Like, give me something. Give me some kind of story. I need to have that story to make this really matter, and not just from me being interested, not just me being interested thing, but for them to draw with world title matches. When you have a world championship match on your show, you want it to be something that attracts attention, that just people go, all right, well, there's a world title match on. I gotta watch this. But this doesn't make any sense. As Steven points out, this match makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. No, Jon Moxley's not going to be dropping the belt to Penta. I don't think that's best for business. I really don't. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, period. It just doesn't. Yep, Tracy, you're exactly right. The open challenge stick, it gets old. Like, and it's played out. We see it across the board in AEW for all the titles. And there's a lot of them in AEW right now. We've seen them for the tag titles. We've seen it for the world title, women's title, ROH title. We've seen so many damn open challenges. Like, I mean, you can't just keep throwing that stuff out there. You can't. And I want to see these world championship matches protected more and given more meaning and given more logic. And this just doesn't have it. Now, with that said, and like most AEW criticism, it comes along with the reality and the real truth that this is going to be a hell of a match. I mean, my goodness, Jon Moxley against Penta. Are you kidding? Like, that match is going to be great. I have no doubt, especially with Moxley on the level that he's on right now. This thing is going to be a great match. No doubt about it. And so I'm looking forward to watching it. I just want some context put around it. How do you advertise Mox versus MJF? I mean, I think that's okay, Steven. You could advertise that match because that's the match that's happening right now. And if Penta wins, then you change your graphic and it's Penta versus MJF. But I think that's okay. I don't want to get on him for that. But I do understand what you're saying. So there you have it. That's the show tonight, guys. Moxley's going to win this one, folks. I know, Rin, you think Moxley is going to drop that belt, but I just don't see it. Just don't see it at this point in time. Moxley wins this one for sure. So thank you all for being here. We'll got full coverage for you at PWTorch.com of the AEW Dynamite tonight. It'll be on the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling post show, breaking down the show with callers and hopefully an on-site correspondent as well. So check that stuff out. But again, thank you guys for being here. We'll be back tomorrow. The flagship show here on YouTube, the Fireside Chat flagship edition. Myself, Tyler Sage, 4 p.m. Eastern. Be here, get your questions in, be here to hang out, shoot the breeze, talk a little wrestling. Be glad to have you as always. So Rin, Steven, Azan, Tracy, everybody else who joined us live, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow for the flagship. Thanks a bunch.